Here we are, the Lowdown with Tony Lowe. And today, my guest in episode, I believe, number 9, is Sarah Cohen from the Antivillains, one of my favorite Northwest Ohio-based musical groups. And what did I say it is? Episode 9. Click like and subscribe, please. Hi, Sarah.
How's it going?
It's good. Today was a weird day. I feel like I was kind of productive. I know that things are opening back up, but it still just kind of doesn't feel like it's a strange time we're living in here, Sarah.
I know how to cook pretty well, so I don't picture myself going to a restaurant in the next year here.
You know, I got to tell you, I never enjoy a restaurant as much as I enjoy my own stuff I make.
Sure. I mean, I would have done some carry out, but just driving past the restaurants and seeing like a group of people like just in the parking lot, meeting they're inside, just all hanging out, like that's pretty hard to understand for me right now. And I want them to be right. You know what I mean? Like I want to be the guy that's wrong and all these people having a fucking great time. They're like, I want them to be proven right when it comes down to it.
Well, we don't really know yet, but it's, what are you gonna do? You gotta go by the it's a new thing. We have to go by the numbers and update as necessary as we go, right?
Yeah, it's not too much of a problem for us, it's just
right
making some changes.
I've been cautious because I have loved ones that are extremely would not fare well with a respiratory virus, and so
okay.
I've only just now, as the semester's ended, started helping my family a little bit with their farm, which means I need to be exposed to said loved ones. And so I've been extremely quarantine-y.
Okay.
I've been
the farm?
Though. What's that?
What's the farm situation?
Oh, I'm afraid it's not the kind of thing that's fun for you to hear about. It's a lot of feed stuff for livestock. It's not a It's not a happy. It's not a very woke farm.
Do you get to inherit that though? Maybe you could make some changes, make some money with the organic route.
Well, you can't. That's it. It's an interesting thing you bring up there. You can't make money going the organic route where we are. Once your business is in, once you shake the devil's hand, you don't go back, or you just close your shop.
I think there's some soil building programs out there that are through the universities that I've just seen the signs up at the co-op that said, if you've had this farm for so long and you're looking to change over to organic, there's like some certain systems you can sign up for and they'll come out to your farm and give you a slap on the wrist and maybe help you set up some different systems.
Rest assured that this is high on my mind, and I will use my powers for good the best I can. But that's a complicated farming.
Save that for the farm talk.
Yeah, it's a deep rabbit hole.
That's a podcast that I host.
Is it?
Farm talk.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, this is my first episode that you're on.
Oh, good. Well, it's nice to be on the farm talk. And I enjoy it very much here on the farm. What's up with the Antivillains? Suddenly you emerge. All this time, everything was open. It was really hard. I was so shocked to know that you were out there being active, and then I saw you at the museum.
Oh yeah, we have members that are in different ensembles and different collectives. But we come back as like a strong force when we are all together. We'll probably rehearse for 2 months leading up to a performance and just really try to make it sound fresh. And I've been writing music for the last 30 years. And every time I try to play as a solo artist, I really just kind of envision those songs for a larger group setting and not just an acoustic guitar or a cappella. That's probably the only 2 instruments I possess on my own. So it's always great to bring new material to a group of people that are my family, my musical family, and that family has gotten bigger just through the earthwork music scene that the Antivillains are now a part of. And that music collective are people that, through my brother's nonprofit work and some of his recording work with his studio Dream Louder, we've been able to connect with some Michigan artists that have maybe a little bit more of like a positive outlook than where I was maybe 5 or 6 years ago in like just the, Toledo music scene, which is, you kind of make your own shows happen. And I've always just been happy like being a host to bringing other artists into the scene, and trying to get away from the alcohol driven kind of like night expectations. So getting more into the small studios. And I think I played a cool show just actually as a solo artist a couple of years ago at my friend's flower shop, and that felt really Brooklyn to me because I don't know, just like thinking outside the box.
When it felt Brooklyn? What about Brooklyn?
Because in Brooklyn there's a place called the Flower Shop that is a floral studio during the day, and then they have shows and like a really nice bar at night.
Okay, yeah, right.
Making
Okay.
money like any way you can.
So, so first of all, if anyone's watching this and you're unfamiliar with the Anti-Villains, I understand. We're in Toledo, Ohio, whatever. And the thing about the Anti-Villains is you do a lot of things right that I want to hit on. And first and foremost, the musicianship is just so stellar. The performances, the meshing with each other, you and Ben and everyone that you're playing with. When I saw you at the museum, I freaked out because I hadn't heard you in forever. But the way that your voices mingle, the choices of songs mixed in with your own material, you threw in a couple of covers that just went right to my DNA, man. You hit up Neil Young from After the Gold Rush, and you played some Velvet Underground. Oh, I was just freaking out in the back of that room.
That was probably one of our better shows too, because we actually were able to line up some other performances in town leading up to that show. And it really is something we said about like when you're on tour and when you have like one or two shows even before like a bigger performance, you really just like treat it more like a play, and you're just more comfortable like around people. But I mean, we don't play all the time. Some of the shows that we've been playing every year up in Michigan are a couple of festivals that we really love. Farm Block Festival, which is up in the Keweenaw Peninsula. That's something, it's a one stage festival, but like the community is really strong because of that. And that's really been something to really be working towards, like building our summer shows towards a couple of those festivals, and just really like making the most of the time when you're camping, like with all your friends, and you're swimming in the lakes. And I mean, it's really combining like all the things I love in like one weekend.
Well, I'm noticing a farm theme.
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that we're involved with the Earthwork Music family is it's really connected to ecology and like positive social change and social justice that really is linked to the earth and linked to politics in a way too, because there's two types of people that are voting right now, and one, it's all very emotional. It's on like a very emotional level, but like the more education you have, like the more you'll be able to like vote on like a little bit more of like facts instead of just getting away from your like gut feelings.
Yeah, and I think there's maybe, I like what you're saying. I think there might be a more nuanced way to say it, which is there are infinite number of types of people voting, and all of them are joining into two tribes. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, I mean, personality wise, I mean, yeah, there's got to be every personality under the sun. But given the two options that we have, I think a lot of people on the Democratic side aren't happy with that, aren't voting for Democrats. So I don't know. I think could use a different party system when
It's
it
pretty
comes down to
wild out
that.
there. Can we also I want to say I first met you and Ben when you were what I thought of as some adorable kids putting a band together or something, and I heard there was this Happy Badger thing or something, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely linked to getting our start together with having a live performance space as our working studio. So we were really lucky to have a sound system to practice on as kids, and that, like, I think swayed a lot of our audio kind of leanings that are strict. And like one of the reason we haven't put out music is because, like, I think that our, especially like coming from Ben and Sam, like I can agree that like you need to like think about posterity's sake. Am I saying that correctly?
Sounds good to me.
Posterity? No, there's no R in there.
You're like me though, where I read a lot of words and don't always hear them, but I say posterity.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. Are you talking about making a profit?
No, I mean like not releasing something until you really are happy with it, and
Posterity.
spending the extra money to make a track sound good. And I think even these songs are what came out on Anthems are coming from my original song selection from like 5 or even 7, 8 years ago. So they really complement the second album if you're looking at it as just like you haven't seen us live, you don't know there's like 20, 30 new songs. But like for posterity's sake, it makes sense that So Much for Romance has this like kind of like Belle and Sebastian style of like that's like kind of like what I was feeling when I was like writing those songs. And Anthems is kind of chronologically closer to So Much for Romance era than it is even right now. But I like the way that they go together. Like they just they're just fun pop rock songs that um I don't necessarily write those kind of songs right now, but I like that that's in our catalog, I think.
We think alike. The thing I loved about the Happy Badger situation, I didn't finish that thought. You were kids to me, but then it turned out to be super legit. That was what was so surprising, was like, wait, there's young, like really young upcoming artists being nourished and opening a venue. That was insane to me.
It
And
was
then
insane.
and what's great now is you've carried some of that sensibility with you of using, and it's kind of like what we were talking about with politics, with anything. Instead of thinking, what are the available options and what option do I plug myself into? You and I think alike, which is what is our desired outcome and what is the nearest step on the path to get to that, right? So, in other words, you also resonated with me when you were talking about not wanting to just play in some bar, some alcohol driven, you're looking for different kinds of venues,
Mm-hmm.
you know, the
Coming from
museum was awesome. That's how I see it. I think the, especially as things are opening back up and people are going back into the gig space, I don't fear, but I don't, I don't enjoy the notion of this return to an older dead paradigm. I think even before there was a lockdown, before anything, I think many of us were still struggling as artists, musical artists, in a world that was made for a different time, in a system that was made for a different world.
Agreed. I mean, think about Frankie's and Howard's. I mean, they were built for hard rockin', hard drinking, hard rock and roll. And I don't know that that's not music I listen to, but there's also a certain type of person that can play any venue and just treats it like practice. And there's a certain like truth to that. I mean, I have friends that have played in rock and roll bands. Our friends in the go rounds will tour pretty much as they can, and the venues really vary because they're checking them out for the first time, and if they didn't like it, well, scratch it off the list. But like they're willing to try, and that's cool. Like I think you have to have a certain kind of music too that can really get people moving, and there's also something to be said about the kind of music that I write, which is like kind of contemplative listening room music. And if you don't we don't really have one of those like as a stable place besides the Arc, and that's why the museum has been really working with us for the last 6 years. We played a New Year's show there, and that's a relationship that we really appreciate because they've moved us from the cloister, which is like kind of weird sound, and also still more like getting drinks and stuff right there, like a little bit of a mingling vibe, to the peristyle, which we were able to fit like 350 people in a year previous to this year. It was on a Friday night, and it was great to see people from the neighborhood in there that we like really respect as artists, to be able to like share some of the music to them. And it didn't have to be about a ticket price, which meant a lot too, because like as
Yeah.
an artist right now, I'd rather be able to play for free, and then maybe you pick up some music on the way out.
Well, here's the other side of it is when people go on tours and they play late at night at these bars and venues, I keep asking musicians, what are you trying to accomplish by doing that?
Make some
Who is
money though, like that's paying
it?
for your
No,
rent, your
no, it's
food,
not.
Well, if you play 15 shows that month, you are gonna make something.
So here's my thought about that. There's two possibilities, and it kind of goes along with what you're saying and adds something. If you are able to play 15 shows in a month and you're traveling around to do it,
Hmm.
you've generated an audience already that's
Right.
showing up in some place far from your house where they're willing to drive to see you, or they live in another town and they come
Hmm.
out to see you because those people aren't discovering you at that bar.
Right, they already know
They
you.
they would have easily come to an alternate venue on an afternoon and not had to be up late, and they could have heard you better and
Agreed.
not had to get a babysitter. And
Yeah, because our fans aren't like 20-year-old, kids out in the park trying to party.
right,
And you know, yeah, that's a good point. Like if
that
there
is,
was a different bar.
and that's it. See, it's a different world back then. People used to play those bars because folks would, that was where you went to see that music. We were also a lot younger.
Yeah.
We're not like the people that want to hear the music I'm writing right now are not people that go on Thursday night to a bar at 1 a.m. They're not. I don't want to be up that late.
It's not
They
good.
don't. They
There's
don't
a
want,
there's a venue up in Fernwood, Fern
Dale,
Ferndale,
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 Michigan.
Ferndalian, and it's kind of like a good idea because it has this like kind of fancier restaurant in this one side, and then they have like a place where you buy a ticket to go in, and then there's a bar, like a discreet bar in there, but like they're high top tables, and like you can dance if you want to, but it's like it's over by midnight. I feel like that's kind of like taking what kind of works, which is like the restaurant where you're making money off of that, but like I don't know, it's just like seemed like a place where people felt comfortable. Like, women don't necessarily feel comfortable at Frankie's, or like that's not there anymore, but Howard's and some of these other like old school 70s punk rock bars that were for the fucking bikers, bike rock gangs.
Yeah, well, that's it. You have to know the audience, and venues. Bands like to think in terms of them developing an audience and then getting everybody motivated to go to the venue at hand, instead of thinking that the venue should have its own draw, where people
Right.
go and discover great music of a certain type and a certain expected quality, and the venue delivers entertainment like you would if you were going to see a jazz group.
Do you
You
like the
know,
Arc? Have you seen a show there for in a while?
I've been away so long, and then so much has happened since I got back. I broke my foot and I was laid up, and then this all happened. So I haven't done much since I've been back from California in terms of like going to see places, and
Okay.
but I love Ann Arbor.
That's a good spot. I mean, we had a show there and really did well, and I think it's just a matter of having some more recorded music that fits that reflects our current style a little bit, because that is that style of music
So
room. It's like a folk rock music listening room, and it's beautiful. It's fucking beautiful.
so here's what
Everyone's
I
set, you know.
here's what I think the future is. Small spaces, beautiful listening rooms, I like that word, and
Hmm.
you film and stream. It's well lit, well mic'd, and bands come in with a small group of local people. We live in a small place at the moment.
Hmm.
There's not 300 people that are going to come see a band multiple times a month. Sorry, that's not the population that we have. And to me, it makes sense to have a small, great sounding space that you can record and film and light it
Hmm.
well.
Yeah.
And then you're generating your audience because they're going to find you on the internet.
It still takes money though. Like at Ben's studio, Dream Louder, we did some shows over the summer that they hosted, and we had probably the one show Heavy Color played, and there was probably 150 people at most, and they made a little money. And Antivillain played, and we had a good crowd. We probably had 85, 90 people there. But like when it comes down to paying the bands, like there still wasn't any money, man. There wasn't money.
Yeah,
But it was, it
I'm
was a great
40.
show.
If I was gonna make a living at this, I'd have done it by now. I'm doing this because I love music, and I think there's something to be said. Like, yeah, I mean, we could all start cover bands if the goal is money, but I'd rather have a day job and great art.
Yeah. Yeah, I really can't go back to staying up late to play music. It's just not. I don't. Unless I'm microdosing, I'm not going to be up past 1 o'clock at night.
So that's the other thing I remember is your Happy Badger. Was that your dad that started that or owned it, or how did that all work? And
Yeah, that was my parents. Their idea was to have a general store of the future, which is a very far out idea, but kind of basing it on like the old time general stores where people come over and have a cup of coffee and play some checkers and
yeah,
buy some some rope and some tarp for their. They were selling some pretty interesting things like rain sticks.
you were microdosing. Dad was mega dosing.
I wish. I think that would have been a really intense. He could have undergone some really good psychiatric therapy using some alternative practicing, some different ideas. But I don't know. I mean, you're a kid. You don't know your parents need like mental psychiatric help. Like you don't know that until you've learned about it a little bit yourself, and you see certain patterns in your own self about that you have to like be careful of. And definitely like just making sure that the days that I have that are depression days, that I just know they're gonna go away very fast, and I'm lucky in that way. But who knows.
Yeah, I find that I am not the best at assessing my own psychological landscape. Yes. Do you ever have one of those where because you said that about the depressed day or whatever. Do you ever have it where you think you kind of know how you are, and then you're suddenly around someone and you're like, oh, I thought it was a sad day. This is an angry day, or like,
No, I
or you
just
just,
have different days where maybe like a hormonal change will really just kind of flip me upside down, and I don't really like know, like, when you're feeling bad, you don't necessarily remember what it feels like to feel normal. So that is something that when I'm on the other side, it's kind of like you feel like this is gonna be for the rest of your life. But I'm just really lucky because usually within like through 2 or 3 hours, if I can just like, take a little bit of a rest, I will come back to just feeling normal again. And that's important to me because I would never want it to go further than that.
yeah. I also I also have another thing in common with you where I tend to write or I have music, I should say, that builds as kind of like a small catalog that I think of as a grouping. You know, you were
Mhm.
saying you like to record certain things for posterity. You know, you want to have a slice of what your work is and kind of keep it together and maintain
Mhm.
it and put it out. And I have that right now. There's a bunch of songs that go together, and it has a title, and it's a record. It's not done yet, but I know that that's a record.
Mhm.
And even though there's other things I want to work on playing guitar and material with a different focus, I don't feel like I can delve into that until I finish with this. Do you have that?
I kind of have this weird feeling that I really just want to record everything that I think is good, like before I get old, you know what I mean? So that's something that like I think a lot of artists want to do.
Yeah.
And because I'm working with a group of people, like it's a process. Like I think when we record next, we're gonna be doing most of it under our own house recording equipment. And I think that's a good thing that we've built up a large amount of equipment through Ben and Sam's collection, and
Yeah.
they're making a living off of recording music for film and music for commercials, and
It's so cool.
it is really awesome. And I'm really happy to be close to that orbit, so that when we do want to record, we'll be able to learn from a lot of the mistakes that we made recording elsewhere and spending a ton of money on 10 songs. That, it's not necessarily about selling it now, but it is about putting it in placement, and that's kind of something that I'm really excited about, because that connection that they have through Dream Louder is our music is part of a catalog now that clients can choose. Here's a little jingle from Anthems, that it's kind
Yeah.
of like sounds like a commercial at the end or something. It's not necessarily a bad thing to have parts of your songs that are of commercial appeal.
No, there's a lot of artists that I've discovered through television shows or an NPR program where there's a little blurb of music at the end, and I have to go and look it up and see what I just heard.
Yeah, that's great. It's a really cool way to make some money as an artist.
It sure is. I actually have a friend who purchases music for Fox Sports. So if you're watching, I don't know what they have on Fox Sports, but
Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum.
yeah, no, but like rock music and such,
Oh, okay.
or like a hip hop. It's more like imagine a football game where they show the replay and there's like some music in the background.
Oh yeah.
I
You
don't
know
know.
that
I
you
don't
know
really.
that song that goes woo-hoo, woo-hoo. I think that's on like
That's my
the
that's my
football
favorite
game.
song. I don't know.
Down, down, and down, woo-hoo. I
I
think
don't
it's like a
know.
Shania Twain song or something. It's a very reminds me of a football game when I
I
hear
don't
it.
know, but I like it when you do it. It's very
Yeah.
Michael Jackson when you do it.
Oh, okay. It's not meant to me.
No, of course. So, what does it look like when what happens when you feel that you have something you want to create? When you're getting inspired to write something or write music, write lyrics, anything you do, are you summoning that in? Are you actively becoming creative? Is that something you maintain, or does inspiration hit you and you have to do something about it at random times?
I think of it more of like listening to a radio station in the clouds and really pulling in. Usually it just takes a really good line for me to write a song. And that might be something from a book I'm reading, or um, recently I wrote a song about we visited a old mining town in the UP that they actually rebuilt the whole town, all the smelters, all the factory elements. Like there's a doctor's office and the foreman, and it's like also on a really great beach that we just stay for weeks on end and swim for the whole week. But during our exploration of the town site, they call it like a historic town site, there was a building, the doctor's office, and they had uncovered during their excavation like 20 morphine bottles in the wall of this old building. So that was a good, I mean, that's something that really hit me as a good basis of a song. And I don't know, just real people's stories that came before those things are themes that are starting to like be real important to me. Less interested in like personal relationships now. Um, the more universal the topic in some ways, like if I can make that a personal topic, that's something I really like to do right now.
That's cool. So then what's the process like? Is it you and a guitar, you and a keyboard, you and the lyrics? What comes first?
Yeah, usually like I'll be on a walk or something and hear the line that I really like maybe that is part of the chorus or like the intro. I don't know, it's different for every song, but normally it's just like it's something that it's already exists somewhere, kind of like Plato and the elements, like the orbs, like love is a element that you can reach up to and like pull parts of it down.
Wow.
The spheres, I forget what it is, but it's really, I don't know, I kind of don't try to not take credit for it. And like of course everybody's wrote songs that are like for fun. I don't really count those as like inspired muse songs from the elements. But I try to just listen really well, have a good ear on the radio station.
Metaphorically.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's there. The songs come into my ear,
What I
and
mean,
then I put them together like with other elements. But
what I mean
sometimes
is
like
someone watching this may misinterpret that in a literal way, thinking you're listening to the radio.
it's pretty literal though. But no, it's not. Don't read into it any more
I
than you have
assure you,
to.
you're not referring to a literal radio.
No, of course not.
Literal, no. Very real, I believe you.
Yeah, and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I'm not in an active space where I'm writing. But sometimes I think about what our set needs. So I'll try to like maybe tailor a song towards, oh, we do need another 4/4 song that's a little more like upbeat, or we need like less of this type of song. And that's like doesn't always work for that though. It has to like be a real thing for me to like want to put time into it, I guess.
It makes
Like,
a lot of sense to me.
and there's some songs that I have thought maybe that will sound good, and then um just like I stop putting time into them, and it's okay because it leads to something else that's better.
If you have a melodic or a thematic idea, how do you first start to play with that in terms of the harmony? Are you picking up a guitar? Is it
Okay.
keyboard?
Um, Usually like I'll just like I'll sing the song to myself like while on a walk or like in a quiet environment,
Yeah.
and then try to like sing the part that like I can remember as many times as I can. If I have like a phone, I'll record that part. Um, and then usually it will feel formed enough on that walk to like go back to the drawing board with my guitar. I don't really write on piano. I've just started taking piano lessons, and
Oh, cool.
it is cool because there's different color chords and different combinations of notes that I get from piano that I don't get on guitar.
Hmm,
But
interesting.
um, I'm still learning like different strum patterns and like learning to be better guitarist, because like lyricists and vocalists, songwriter is kind of like my first talent. So things that I work on are like keeping my time, and it is hard for me to always keep on time, especially when I'm having an internal beat for my song that I'm trying to keep my guitar up. So it's not always easy for me, but luckily I like want to keep going and work on it in my spare time all the time.
Well, that's the funny thing is I think folks think of art as a destination, as though whomever, Michelangelo or you said Plato, right, as a writer or a thinker, it's not like one day he was brilliant or one day Joni Mitchell just arrived that day as this incredible musical force. It was something that she was delving into every day. It's something that people like you were saying, listen to the radio. That radio's got to be on, and I think that the enjoyment of practice is, being a practitioner. It's not exercise. Does that make sense? It's you're doing it. Like that's you're making art. That is practice.
Oh, definitely. I love practicing with a group. I feel like I learn so much when I'm in a band, when we're actually having rehearsal together. But just learning to identify what you need to work on has been part of my growth lately, and also just going back to basics from like all my choir training, keeping my vocals strong. Last year, I was part of a just kind of like a little like experimental band that we played all Talking Head songs. We learned probably like 20 Talking Head songs. We had like a full
another of
like
my
hour
favorite.
and a half, 2 hour set, and it was really intense to learn somebody else's music because like I was a background singer, but it was like we added a lot of harmonies that weren't even on the tracks, just like trying to like play with that a little bit. And that was a lot of work because I have a hard time learning people's fucking lyrics. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what people are talking about. And it's just like I have a hang up trying to remember lyrics. So, like, I literally listened to Talking Heads for like 900 hours.
Wow.
It was for 3 shows, but seriously, like, it was worth it to like really know my shit being in this ensemble of people. And um, I like have this method where I write out every single word, but then I will just write out the first letter of every word. So I have these sheets and sheets of paper of like, and she was lying in the grass, just like the first letter of every word.
And she could hear the highway
Because
breathe.
you can really like say the words faster than you can write them. Oh my gosh. But I think it's the best way to learn
That's
lyrics. It's
smart.
just like, man, over and over and over.
I can imagine you singing "Road to Nowhere" quite well.
I loved Road to Nowhere. It was a fun song.
That would be
I
a
like
good
doing
one.
that one.
That's a good one for your voice.
I like my favorite song was Slippery People. It was the
Uh,
best. It was so fucking fun to sing. Oh my god, I loved it. It was so fun.
yeah, that's a good one too. Slipper people.
It's weird, and I like Talking Heads, and but I don't really like. I'm not loyal to any band where I have listened to every song or every album of yours because there's so much. There's just so much music. So that took me into some material Talking Heads I was unfamiliar with, and those turned out to be my favorite ones.
Yeah, so good, man. And those records they did with Eno were just so exquisite.
The best.
Oh. What does it look like then when you get together with the band? Or does everyone bring songs? Is it you and Ben or
I wish. No, I right now to all of our current material is something that I wrote, and then everybody writes their own parts. Everyone's very intuitive, and I love that we hear different parts of the same song from scratch pretty much. And it will take probably like 3 or 4 shows of playing material. We try to just introduce 1 or 2 songs new because we want to really give them attention. um I don't know, like there's part of me that wish we could just play like Old West End Festival and like play the porch parties, and but there in a way like I would rather play less serious music for those types of settings. So um I'd be interested in playing some old country music with some friends. I think that was something we were starting to get going, and then all this stuff happened, and I think it's going to be time just to get back to business with Antivillains when everything comes back together. So I'll probably have less time on the country party band.
let's do some fun stuff. Now I'm on Zoom on my own show, just networking and hanging out with you. Hope you don't mind. But we should do something. When we come out of this and I get my trio back to full function, I think there could be some collaborative booking.
For sure. I mean, yeah, I'm starting to be able to be more open to playing with people, um, because it's just fun to play music in general. I don't know how to jam though. I can't jam. I don't know how to fucking jam.
That's fair. I love a good jam, and I love a good any kind of chance to make good music with good people. When I saw you, you had three guitars up there, three guitarists on stage, and nobody stepped on each other's toes. Do you know how difficult that is to achieve?
Just because Peter and Lucas are really good guitar. They're really good musicians, and I can be a little sloppier because honestly, they're so fucking good. So I try to keep my rhythm strong, but just stay out of the way because their melodies, especially Peter, has really like been able to kind of even match my vocals and take that take the end of a phrase and kind of just go roll with that outward. It's really interesting. And
I heard that. I was impressed by him and by all of you, but certainly by the interplay. Interplay is everything to me in music. It's why I don't enjoy doing the overdubbing a million little bits and like, oh, I'll send you drums, you put guitar. Well, we can't really interact very well that way, you know.
oh yeah, I'm really excited to try to do some live recording, and then I obviously add some things over top of that. I mean, Anthems has so many layers; it's crazy.
I don't mean that I don't like overdubs. What I mean is where you haven't even written the song yet, but someone's already performed the drums, and now
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, that'd be wild.
yeah, I don't like that whole like here's a beat, what's the guitar part? I don't know. Can we try playing it together?
I think everybody trusts me, and it's not like we're making a bunch of money or anything, but like I think the shows that we play are worth our time. If there were different venues, maybe we would have some more interest in playing like more often. But I think the festival scene has been really fun, and just getting started in that. I mean, the fact is I think about changing our name because we have changed so much since we were kids in 2005, like playing guitar, but I like our name, and it's so hard. It's so hard to find an original name because everything's on the internet. So if you've ever had a band from
Yeah.
1920s or whatever, all the way through for 100 years, it's, you don't want to have the same name as somebody else. You really don't. Like that's and it's fun. It's fun to have made a word that nobody was really talking about until Disney or Pixar or whatever came out with a movie.
Well, I love that name. I love the name the Antivillains. I think it's great.
It's
And
fun.
you're right. There are no more names. People are like, "What are you gonna? What would you name your band?" And no, man, there's no names left.
You gotta name your name like churches with like two V's and shit like that.
I don't want. Yeah, I don't like that. That's annoying.
Birch with just all R's.
I decided that my recordings that I make from here to the end of my life are just going to be my full name with the names of the other people who also performed beneath, kind of like a Blue Note record.
Okay. Well, you can always do the project as well.
Yeah,
It's a
no,
very popular. It's a popular move.
yeah, that's why no, because it's better. It's better to just be 100% naked.
I'm part of
This
the
is
top. I'm
me.
part of the equal women's equal rights body free body movement. So I know what you're coming. I know where you're coming
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is my name. It's who I am. It's who played this record. That's what it is. It's labeled. It's like buying a jug of milk that just says milk.
Well, I guess the thing I would say, leaving an ending note is just send us some messages if you're interested in Antivillains coming out with some new music. Just keep emailing Ben Cohen every single day.
For sure.
Just send him some emails every day. Gotta remind him because he's a busy boy and he's like really making a lot of music with his projects. And we talk about recording some of the new stuff all the time, and I think it's time to get in the studio.
When where should people be listening? Where do you want them to discover you and your works? There's Earthworks. I mean,
Yeah, that's a good place to start because You'll be able to find kind of some of our sister projects on there, Heavy Colors on there, earthworkmusic.com. We were part of the rebranding of that site, and we're one of the brand new artists on that site. So check out earthworkmusic.com, and you'll be able to find a lot about us on there.
So just go to Earthworks.
Earth, the word earth,
Yeah.
work, music.
Oh, so
all one word, earthworkmusic.com. Mm-hmm.
Earthworkmusic.com. And there really is a treasure trove of linkable, there's stuff to explore there, and really cool place.
Yeah, I think we've done an okay job too of making our band searchable. If you put the Antivillains, you can find us pretty well.
I found it easy enough. Well, should we wrap it up? I want to thank you so
I
much.
gotta get some dinner in me. We got home from playing a bunch of frisbee and jumped on the car here, so I gotta go make some dinner.
Go make some dinner, and let's talk again off Zoom. Let's talk and just I don't know. I feel like this is selfishly, I need more friends because everyone does. And
I need more friends.
We need to talk farm, and we need to talk all kinds of fun things.
Dude, yeah, give me a call because I'll hook you guys up with the soil reprogramming. It's like soil and water conservation. They can help you. They can help you change the old farm to the new farm for free. I think they do great. It's all grant based, and they just want people to stay in their family farms.
Yeah, but this is the with the prices set by the co-op, the being able to grow enough yield to compete with people that are using.
I know, but that's why people get out of the game of they bottle their own product. They sell their own little thing as a niche market, and it's seriously there's a lot of success stories about it.
I'll talk to you about it.
Okay, I want to make a believer
my
out of
family
you guys.
might not be listening.
I know they're gonna have to, it's not gonna always be the same. So hopefully we can all be part of that change too.
Someday it will be mine, and it will immediately be very different.
Just take a small parcel, and just leave it fallow for like 7 years, and then start over. You gotta buy them out, Tony. You gotta buy them out.
We will. We'll talk about this. Sarah.
All right. Well, I'm glad we came full circle on everything.
Yeah, back to the farm. You got to go back to the earth, man. It's all the soil.
Back to the future.
Dust, ashes to ashes.
Good talking with you.
Yeah, you take care.
Bye.